Wrapping up the month of June here at the Stafford Motor Speedway with a big one for the SK Modifieds in what has been a very competitive 2023 season. This Friday night, it's the Senators Cup. Bonssa Tufa, first repeat winner, though, of the season a week ago. And not a big surprise.
No, Steven Kopchik's been fast all season up to this point. And it kind of got crazy from the get-go because they had a pileup in front, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that later. But he checked up, got hit from behind, and took a trek through the infield, kept it straight, and made his way through the field. I mean, he was really fast, and he said it time and time again, they have a car that can win every single week, and because of that, he is our point leader.
He is the point leader and the driver that gained the most ground in the championship standings last week, finished second. Todd Owen doing pretty much what he's done the last 2 years.
Yeah, we've talked about how he's not been a consistent podium finisher like he was last year, but he's the only driver that's finished top 10 in all 5 races, so he's still consistent. They've had a bit of mechanical gremlins with the brand new car so far this season, but they figured it out. They figured it out pretty good last week, finishing second. Just didn't quite have enough for Kopchik. Good day for Chassis Pro overall. David Arute had his best run of the year. Anthony Flannery had his best run of the year. So good for them, but for other teams, not so good.
Including the former point leader in Jimmy Blewett, also Keith Rocco, never even made it to the start-finish line.
That happens sometimes. They just stacked up on the start, and Rocco, Kopech, Blewett, they got the worst of it. Blewett did make it back out in the final laps because he wants to get those extra couple positions. That's a couple extra points. It's a season-long championship format, so maybe those points make a difference in the end, but the 85 team showed no quit despite the damage they had.
An extra 10 laps this week for the SK Modified, so they'll go 50, part of the Senators Cup, the defending winner, a driver you just mentioned a moment ago, starting to turn things around in David Arute.
Yeah, David has had his issues so far this season, especially overheating the first few weeks, but a couple top 10s since then. Best run, led a couple laps last week, hoping that they can get their car and their direction turned in the right way. It's a long season. A lot goes on. He had a great start last year, won 3 races up until the mid-part of July. So far, snake bit, but there's still a lot of racing left to go.
A good feel-good story in the late models. Tom Butler back in victory lane. Turbo Tom, that green and white numeral number 4 for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He did a couple races last year, and he was good last year. He had a fast car, just did not have the luck. He dominated last Friday. Took the lead early from Dwayne Knoll and just never looked back. It was a feel-good win. If you see the in-car for Butler, you see Woody Pitkat come flying in, congratulating him, because Woody Pitkat used to race him in the late models as well. But a very popular win. Good for Tom Butler, getting the victory lane. And what does that make it? 5 different winners in 5 races for the late models?
5 for 5, and the first ever late model win for Tom Butler came in
1993?
In 1993.
Yeah. I was -2.
There you go. Another big story, I think, in the late models last week, Adam Gray, running for the championship, finished outside of the top 15.
Yeah, he got caught up in a spin on the last lap after contact with Andrew Durand and ended up finishing in the back of the field. And as a result, Kevin Gambacorta has the point lead. He would love to be a driver that wins all championships in the 3 fender divisions.
And he is in position to do that, although still early in the season. The late models are back Friday night, as are the SK Light Modifieds. Tyler Chapman going from a horrible night 2 weeks ago, breaking on the pace lap while scheduled to start on the pole, and he finds himself back in victory lane.
He's had a horrible last 3 races before heading into Friday night. I mean, it was a rough stretch for that 41 team, whether it was incidents or mechanical problems. But, man, that car was flying on Friday. He pretty much went wire to wire, got his first win of the year. He was a championship contender last season. He started off the year with a second place by 2 inches over Brian Sullivan. But since then, it's just been a rough going for that 41 team. He's hoping that Friday night means that everything turns around in their favor. Behind them, Meg Fuller. First career podium, a big moment for her.
First time we've seen her on the podium in 4 years since she was in the street stocks running for a championship. A great turnaround for Meg, and that'll move her up in the championship standings. I think she's in the top 5 now.
She's tied with Cassandra Cole, I think, as well. And we mentioned Cassandra Cole. It's good to see, newer faces running up there like Cassandra Cole. I mean, the last few seasons have not been kind to her, but Spafco, the 09 team, they're starting to figure it out more and more each week. Any given week. You look at Bassett, Sullivan, and Anglaise. They started mid-pack. They were having a hard time getting through the field last week. We saw Paula Root running up top 10. Ron Midford Jr. got his first top 5. Hovey was up in the top 10. There's a lot of good cars. 30 of them in total, and you could probably say half of them have a chance of getting a podium.
Just one caution flag last week for the SK Light Modifieds, and they put on a whale of a show the entire distance. In the limited,
I forgot to mention Tyler Berry, defending
Tyler
champion,
Berry on the podium.
His first SK Light podium of the year, which is hard to believe, but it seems like they might have figured their car out a bit because they haven't been happy with the handling of that machine, and it seems like they get better as the season rolls on, so we'll see if they can build off of that.
Yeah, just 5 weeks into the season, so it could be a fun summer to watch, that number 18 car and the defending champ of Tyler Berry. In the limited late models, Kevin Cormier, we talk about it every week, gained so much momentum late last year, and it's carried over and is still carried over now 5 weeks into the year.
They're on a roll. And if it wasn't for the mechanical issues they had the week before, I mean, they would probably be up in the point lead. Yeah. He's only 2 points behind Matt Clement. But that 14 team is just, they figured it out in a short amount of time. This is only their second year at Stafford, and it's not really second year. It's 1 year plus 5 races. I mean, he's been really good. He's gotten used to these cars very quickly, and it's not easy to adapt. But they adapted, and they adapted at a rapid rate. So good on Cormier to get the win. Matt Clement got another strong run, second place. It was a Clement double podium because Jay Clement made his return, and he finished third after starting pretty much in the back of the field. Guys like Jeremy Lavoie didn't have the best of runs, and I mean, to say that, he still finished, top 5, top 6, but wasn't up there fighting for the podium. Rich Hammond wasn't up there fighting for the podium, so they kind of fell a bit in the big picture, but so far, Kevin Cormier and Matt Clement, they have been the class of the field.
And I still feel for Devin Jensick after that big hit off of turn number 2 2 weeks ago. Last week, mechanical issues put him in the infield fairly early.
What do you say? When it rains?
It pours.
Yes.
In the straight stock division, Ryan Waterman doing what he's been doing all year as well. 4 for 5 now. That car is dominant. He is unstoppable, although made it very exciting over the last 3 or 4 laps last week.
Oh, yeah. That win did not come easy. What a show.
It was.
What a show. You had Ryan Waterman, Travis Downey, Aaron Plemons, Jason Finkbein, Tyler Trott was up there. Travis Haidar joined the battle, and boy, we can say a lot about Haidar's night last Friday night, but an incredible battle. I mean, they were all switching the lead back and forth. They used every bit of racetrack trying to get that win. There was at one point you thought, oh, Downey might get his first win of the year. Then you think, oh, Plemons might get his first win, period, in just his 4th start. And then in the end, Ryan Waterman gets his 4th win in 5 races. But it was a fun race. That's good, just old school type action. And I don't know, it seems like maybe Downey, Plemons, Trott, Finkbein, these guys might be starting to close the gap a bit on Waterman and Haidar. Haidar had a crazy night. I mean, he got involved in 2 incidents, one in turn 4, and then he ended up going to the infield to avoid Bill Cody, and then gets hammered from behind by Jeff Aslan, which Haidar just did not see that coming, but he still bounced back for a top 5 finish. So the 11 car was still up there despite all the damage. We talked about Burt Willett last week coming in as the point leader. He's not the point leader anymore.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time for Burt over in turn number 4 when a couple of cars in front of him got together, including Sean Petlock. And unfortunately, contact was made. Tire went down. And of course, when you have an issue like that for the street stocks, it is terminal. He had to park the car in the infield, watch the rest of the event from there. But still in contention, still a long summer to go.
Oh, yeah, anything can happen. I mean, all 3 drivers, Waterman, Haidar, and Willett, have had a DNF this season. Can you afford another one? Probably not. But with the way things have been going, you just never know.
You never know. It all gets underway here Friday night at 6 o'clock. All 5 of those divisions will be in action, of course, highlighted by the SK Modifieds and the Senators Cup 50 laps for the Premier Division here at the racetrack each and every Friday night. If you can't be here in person at 6 p.m. for the start of the action, you can always tune us in on flowracing.com.